first official episode of Doctor Who, The Community Show. That's it. That's all the celebrating we'll be doing, because we've got work to do.
Wrong way, Professor. It's this way. To equality!
It would have been foolish of me during Pride Month to not mention some of the lovely LGBTQIA2S+ people on the show. Sorry for not learning that off by heart. It's a lot of theirs. It's something the pilot sorely lacked, so let's fix it now. I won't give myself credit for the idea though, as it was Taya, or Taya, from Spectral Horizons who gave me the idea to do this. Speaking of. Spectral Horizons is a wonderfully diverse group of people, ranging from gay to asexual members, and if you are a fan of fan-made audio productions, definitely go and give them a listen. Siobhan of the Flashing Blade podcast is also a wonderfully funny trans host, and if you have the time to listen to podcasts, which I wish I did, definitely go and give them a listen. Yeah. The Twitter account Friends of Ace is also worth checking out, run by the lovely Aaron. It is a celebrator of the LGBTQ+ community, as well as what their bio says, which I believe is celebrating icons and allies. And considering what this show is all about, you know I love that. I've only been filming the show for a little while, and a blazer mixed with the hot weather, not my smartest move. Vera of Council of Geeks fame is a well-known gender-fluid creator who is always talking about representation in media, Doctor Who included, of course, so if you like that, go and have a look. Ivy Hanover, or the main protagonist, is currently on hiatus at the moment, living, and I quote, my best cat mum lifestyle, but it's definitely a creator to look out for. And finally, Marcus Cotton is a highly prolific pansexual voice actor. He has been all over the place, including one of my projects not too long ago. So if you need a very talented Doctor Who voice actor, definitely go and give him a look. Especially if you need a War Master impression. Not that he has anything on me. I am Sir Derek Jacquemet. One of the main criticisms I got in the pilot was how I divvied up the creators. It was more based around the platform they used as opposed to what content they made, which was excellent advice, which I will absolutely be taking to heart. So, without further ado, fan films. I would love to make fan films one day, properly make fan films one day. I've tried my best a handful of times, but it's just too difficult for me. But my failures help me to see other creators' fan films with a slightly less critical eye, because I mean, they did it. They're doing it. That goes for everybody, by the way, whether you've been mentioned here or not, whether you are just starting out or whether you've been doing it a while, you deserve a lot of credit and admiration for at least being able to get it out there. For example, Rhiannon, or Transing the Stone, who I only just saw on Twitter was trans, so should probably mention during the Pride Month shout out, shouldn't I? Anyway, she released a trailer for her upcoming project, Nothing at the End of the Line. And I mean, it looks nothing short of marvellous, doesn't it? Look at that! If you want to see the full trailer, the link to it is down below, as well as anyone or anything I happen to mention during the video, all in chronological order. Because, you know, how else would you do it? Alphabetically? Withered Wolfie released parts 1 and 2 of Home of the Unknown, a Doctor Who Minecraft endeavour which uses black and white and the classic 4:3 screen ratio to deliver a true Hartnell Troutnera experience. Just, you know, more blocky.
We will wait and get our revenge on the Time Lords. At the same time, understood, we must monitor and wait for more orders.
Dynamic Entertainment has released 4 short episodes of his Minecraft Doctor Who series, And you may recognise one of the voices from episode 1. This guy, me. Is this it?
According to the map, yes. We found it. Rassilon and Omega's cave.
I hope this is worth it. It took us weeks just to get here.
I'm sure the old gods left something of value in this thing.
You still insist on calling them gods?
Come on, Entro, what do you want me to call them? Dad and Dad?
Dr. Spicer 11 is making me jealous with his light-up TARDIS console. Look at it. Showing off, that is. In his fan film project, One Big Circle. Also, you've got to love how he used the DVDs as the TARDIS roundels. That is just... And finally in this section, Abby Louise, or Abby of Traken, why am I being all Smith about this, has been releasing a TikTok fan film series called Silver Workhouse, which follows characters such as Jenny Flint, played by Abby herself. The format being so different to the ones you typically find on YouTube, because this one's on TikTok, makes it feel so unique and different, which I think a lot of you will enjoy, especially if you already use TikTok fairly regularly. And before we move on to the next section, if you would indulge me, would like to share one of my favourite moments from Doctor Who. It's from A Good Man Goes to War, where the character Lorna Bucket is dying and the Doctor comforts her. Enjoy. She's dead.
I mean alive. Oh, she is 100% completely alive. Hey. You saved my friends. Thank you. Who are you? I'm the Doctor. You look different. Long scarf, spiky hair, question mark pullover. Boobs. Ah. Spoilers.
The audio series space is such a brilliant one to watch. Listen to. Wow, I got off track fast. The audio series space is brilliant because it continues to show that this community has some amazing, brilliant, creative, talented voice actors and impressionists and scriptwriters within. Speaking of impressionists though, there's one that continues to pop up in projects I get recommended. That being a brilliant Missy impressionist by the name of Alia Torri. I believe I mentioned her last episode, yes, in TARDIS Glitch's Restoration of the Master, and she's back again in the hilarious and very weird series titled The Madness of Missy. It's kind of like a series of old soaps with the canned laughter and the upbeat title music. It's a really strange and unique listen, but definitely go and check it out because I can't describe it. I really can't think of anything else like it.
Is that why we always hear your husband yelling about burning zombies' brains out?
Oh, maybe that was next door. Anyway, I must dash. Farewell, Eddie.
Dr. Disco, or Ross Wilson, has been releasing a series titled Timeless Tales. Each audio is a short story featuring doctors such as the 13th, 4th, and even my boy, 12. Nothing but respect for number 12. I also love the accompanying art made by Ross as well. Definitely go and check these audios out, and Ross, if you're listening, if you need someone to narrate one of the upcoming ones...
Did he really have to be here for 1,000 years? Was there really anyone who was that desperate to get their hands on Missy's dead body? Of course, she wasn't dead, but nobody knew that. Actually, who even knew she was in a quantum fold chamber in the first place? And who knew it was in Bristol? And anyway, what happened when the 1,000 years were up? Was he allowed to move on with his life? Was it suddenly perfectly acceptable for someone to steal Missy's dead but not actually dead body?
12th Doctor Fan Audios has been, you guessed it, releasing John Pertwee audios.
He has?
No, 12th Doctor, go away, this joke isn't worth it.
We're making the joke now. Oh, God.
Anyway, he has released an audio titled Time Lords Alone. Restless. Desperate in solitude. Cheery title, I know. It's got great performances from Alia, again, and Guillaume, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, as the Doctor himself. And it's also got a great script to boot.
You've been sitting there tuning that wretched contraption for hours.
It's just not right yet, is all.
And it's never going to be just right for you either. You always come down here to see me when you're in one of your little moods, and you just sit there on your little milk crate and fiddle with that instrument like a teenager. Snap out of your funk already.
Doctor Who, the TikTok audio series, is fairly self-explanatory until, plot twist, it's on YouTube. You didn't see that one coming, did ya? Did ya? But in all seriousness, go and check out the Nightmare Museum. It is a cracking listen. They're a fairly small channel now, but I see a bright future for them. So let's go and help them out.
You know you can't smoke on the property. Sir? Sir? Please copy.
Much like Alia, the Missy impressionist, Spectral Horizons is a name that just keeps popping up. Sorry if it feels like I'm picking favourites, I'm really not trying to, but Taya, damn it. But Taya specifically has been a great help, and she's just a generally lovely person to talk to. Which leads me perfectly onto the interview segment where her and a few of her members of Spectral Horizons sat down with me to answer a few questions about their upcoming audio. Hello, members of Spectral Horizons.
Hello!
Hello. Hi!
In the call today, we've got Taya, who is a producer/writer. We've got Flame, another producer/writer. We've got Antonio, who is a composer, and we've got Marcus, who is a fantastic voice actor. From my understanding, Taya and Flame, you two are sort of the main sort of creators behind Spectral Horizons. Tell me how that came to be.
We started out on Hoovings Mino, which we are not on anymore, but we started there. Yeah, and it was just kind of like gathering a group of people who were excited about, making audios together. I'm a huge fan of Big Finish, and I think a lot of other people here are as well as like, the novels and all that kind of extended universe stuff. Yeah, so we kind of started with just a smaller group of people. And then Flame came on a little bit later when we were trying to establish ourselves a bit better, get a little more organized.
I mean, I'm not someone who's very, into the classical area of
Scandal.
Production and acting and writing, that kind of stuff. But I like organization and I like order. Yeah, Taya came to me and was like, hey, we think you'd be a good producer. And I kind of was a bit nervous, and I just sort of started off with like creating organizational things. Like, for example, we set up a bunch of forms so that members can vote for when they want to do a group meeting, and I created a members list, just a comprehensive list.
There's got to be a comprehensive list.
You have no idea where we're at before the comprehensive list.
I dread to think.
No one fills it out.
So I heard that Flame, you are one of the producers. So what does sort of the role of producer entail, just sort of as a whole?
A lot, I guess. Making sure everyone's kind of on the same page and pushing people for updates and just trying to make sure that everything's on track, or at least that we kind of have an idea of where everything is.
Moving on to the specific audio that has brought us together, which is Such Stuff as Dreams. Who was the one that came up with that one? Who's the head writer here?
That would be me, and it started as a series of fan fictions that I was posting on Hoovings Amino. It's also on fanfiction.net, but it started as that way, and then I was like, hey, we're starting an audio group. Wouldn't it be cool if I rewrote this as an audio, which is what I did. And I mean, I think it's really cool. It's kind of weird. It's like experimental and stuff.
It's definitely abstract from the script I've read.
Yeah, it's pretty abstract. That's what happens when you go to film school and you go in movies, and then the teachers are like, but what if it was weird?
You know, the show does sort of your bog standard runarounds. You got to leave it to the audios to bust out the weirdness sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. That's before you get your chimes of midnight and your scherzos.
Oh, don't get me started on chimes. Oh.
Anyways, it's the bane of my existence right now because I'm also editing it.
How goes the edit? At this point in time, how goes the edit?
Pretty good, sorry. Pretty good. There's one scene where it's like a crowd scene and there's lots of like cheering and noises going on in the background, and that one is absolutely destroying me, so I've skipped it. I have to come back to it at some point.
Well, that's very good to hear. I look forward to hearing it in its full glory, especially with the 10th Doctor part. I hear that voice actor is spot on.
Great job from that actor. A bit hard to work with, I'd say.
How very dare you. I'm a treat. Moving on to Antonio, I would love to hear, how do you go about composing the music for the audios?
Oh, that's a very interesting question.
I hope for an interesting answer.
I stressed for like 2 weeks going, how am I gonna do this? And then everybody's like, Antonio, give me updates on the music. And I go, I'm on it, I'm working on it. And then, in reality, I haven't started. And then it's like the final 2 weeks, I have some sort of map in my mind on what I'm gonna do with the music. I kind of take inspirations from like other composers in Doctor Who. Like the one I did for Spectral Horizons, Such Stuff as Dreams. Mine was in a library, so I kind of listened to the Silence in the Library soundtrack to get kind of a feel for a library mood.
That leads on to, I might start fights in the comments with this question, but here we go. When it comes to sort of Doctor Who music specifically, like the TV show stuff, what would you say is your favourite? Would you say the classic Who style of doing things, or the sort of Murray Gold, big bombastic stuff? What would you say? Do you lean more towards?
Lately, I've been listening to a lot of the soundtracks from the 80s, and I'd say the classics are better.
Oh, here we go. You hear that, viewers? You hear that type of way of how he's wrong, or how he's right.
It's just a very large variety. I mean, yeah, sure, Murray Gold has some great stuff, but the Two Doctors soundtrack is magnifique.
Oh, I don't think I've heard that one. I'll have to check that one out.
Like, when the guitar starts strumming while Perry's running down that hill, like, it's such a good soundtrack. I'm getting
that is a vibe I did not expect. When the guitar starts strumming and the Perry starts running.
It's such a good soundtrack.
Right, moving on to you, Marcus. Are you there, my boy, Marcus?
Yes.
Fantastic. Right, so as a voice actor, and I'm fully aware that you have appeared in many different fan projects, including one of my own not too long ago. So how did you get involved with Spectral Horizons?
Actually, Taya was in another project we were in together. I forget during which story it was during, but the producer on that project, he put out a casting call for Such Stuff as Dreams, and so I read through it and was like, okay, some of these roles sound interesting, I'll audition for them, and I ended up getting cast as the second Doctor and one of the voices doing the Nightmare.
Terrific. What is, do you say you are well versed with a second Doctor impression, or is that not your go-to when it comes to impressions?
Actually, that was the first project I've ever been cast as a doctor in.
Oh, really?
Yes, like a few projects I'd auditioned for, and much better actors always got cast. You know, fair enough. So it was really excited to be cast as the second Doctor. I had a lot of fun with that.
Now, as someone who has desperately tried to do impressions of the second Doctor, I can say quite safely, it is one of the hardest ones. But you see, you've led me on to saying you've got to do a second Doctor impression right now. I'm putting you on the spot.
Hey, my giddy aunt!
Wow, Patrick Troughton is in the room.
Oh my god.
Me, and I say run. Run.
My goodness, round of applause for Mr. Marcus. Well, no wonder you were cast, that was terrific.
Now you're our second Doctor forever, Marcus.
Oh, you're locked in. So now I'm going to go round to all of you with the same question, and I want a good answer here. So, Taya, I'll start with you. What would you say is your favourite project you've gotten to work on so far?
Well, we're so new. I don't know, that's a hard question because, I mean, you know, Such Stuff as Dreams is my baby. Our very first project that we released, The Whale's Stomach, is a really unique story, I think, and I got to edit a good amount of that, so it was It was kind of like a trial run, as well as it was just a really unique thing to work on.
Definitely go and check out The Whale's Stomach as well. A very good audio. Flame, how about you? What's your favourite project you've gotten to work on?
There's a lot of projects. I would say at the moment probably The Eater's Enemy. It was the first one that I did by myself as a solo head producer. It's like the one that I can point to and be like, I contributed. This was really fun to work on. It's very, very nice, light-hearted, fun story.
Antonio, how about you? What's your favourite project you've gotten to work on?
I'm fairly new to Spectral Horizons myself, so I really have only worked on one, and that was Such Stuff as Dreams, and I loved it.
Your music is awesome.
Certainly helps to narrow it down when it's just the one project.
Most definitely.
And then finally, Marcus, well, I suppose you can branch out, because you've had, I mean, like I said, you've been involved in a lot of projects outside of Spectral Horizons too. So I'm once again putting you on the spot in front of your Spectral Horizons peers. What's your favourite project you've gotten to work on?
Oh, I so badly want to say a Spectral Horizons project, but I've only done 3 of them, and I haven't heard the end result yet. And I imagine the end result is really going to put things in perspective.
Well, as of right now then, come on, don't start any fights now.
Alright, so the first one, and surprisingly enough they're all adaptations, is on Josh Snares' channel. He did a motion comic adaptation of the 7th Doctor story called Ground Zero,
yes.
in which I played the Logri, which is the monster of that story. And then the other 2 were on a channel called Security Kitchen Productions. The first, which I still think is my favorite role I ever played, was in a story called Time's Crucible, where I played a monster called The Process. And the other was one called The Scales of Injustice, which is a really good 3rd Doctor story, and I had a dual role in that. I played Sergeant Benton, and I played a character called The Pale Man.
Oh, you played Benton, Flame. You love Benton, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Who doesn't?
I don't know him yet.
I prefer Yates over Benton.
No, we're not having a Yate gate.
Yates for life, okay?
No, Yates is a snake. Yates can go
that's
away.
why I love him, okay?
Yeah, sorry, Antonio, you're now banished.
I knew I'd start fights, I'm sorry. Well, thank you so much, the 4 of you, for joining me for this, even with technical difficulties before recording, which was unforeseen, but we worked through it, we did it.
Oh, it was awesome. Thank you for having us. And stay tuned for Spectral Horizons, which may be out by the time this is out. Maybe will not be. We'll see.
Scheduling. It's fun when you haven't finished it yet, isn't it?
Did I not save Dreams?
You said Spectral Horizon.
Oh, you did?
No, we're already out. Such Stuff as Dreams. Thank you, Flame. Thanks. Wow.
And that's what teamwork is all about. Thank you, and goodbye. Remember what I said about not playing favourites? Here's me playing favourites. Because I'm in this one. Venus Flint is a series that starts very, very soon, hopefully. Spearheaded by Jo, who created the idea, and her lovely boyfriend Luke, who gets shouted at whilst they make it. Sorry, but it had to be said. Both a trailer and a teaser for the first episode is out now. Go and check it out in the description. Like I said, it's a series I am so happy to be a part of, so definitely go and check it out.
And now, an exclusive sneak peek of Venus Flint, An Angel Goes to War.
I can't afford the risk of losing someone who shouldn't even be involved to begin with.
None of us should be involved. This is your fight that you begged us to be a part of. No one should be here but you. And you know what I think? I think you're just scared. Shh.
Oh, now you've done it.
Did you just shush me? Did you just shush me? How terribly rude of you. I know you're under a lot of pressure and stress, but you will not ever shush me like that. Do you understand me? I'm a lady and you will treat me as such.
I really thought that would work.
We all like to laugh. Without laughter, we'd all be crying or staring into the abyss, waiting for the darkness's loving embrace. So TARDIS Glitch has made these Doctor Who poops. Whilst Doctor Who poop is making my logo, dead serious, one of the writers made it, thank you Jerry. We have TARDIS Glitch to make some lovely new ones, so go and check them out.
We're gonna have a fun night.
Doctor!
Also, he made a Doctor Who poop a while ago of one of my old Doctor Who Road sketches, Middle of the Night, where he made like a little dent in my Hartnell wig into the Death Star. I mean, how do you even come up with stuff like that, man? Philip Hawkins has made something which I can only describe as weaponized cuteness. We all have questioned for a long time who the Big Finish intern is. Philip Hawkins has given us an inside scoop. There it is. And doesn't he do a bang-up job? No one should have the power of this amount of adorable, by the way. Philip, I've called the police. The power should not exist, but here it is! I was going to move, but I don't know, I'm comfortable. I like this sound. Do you like it? I always have my desk this way, so I'd have to pull it out, and then the wires get tangled, and I have to unplug, replug, so that's why it's not pulled out this time, and that's why I'm over-explaining this, aren't I? Podcasts! Like I said at the top of the show, I don't have a lot of time for podcasts. I just in my day-to-day, I wish I did. Something to listen to, but I just don't. But maybe you do, so let's promote some lovely people. That might as well be the tagline for this show. Right at the top of the list is the Flashing Blade podcast. Why is that? Well, 2 reasons. Firstly, it's because they were the first podcast that were linked to me. I believe it was Siobhan that replied to one of the tweets. And also because, well, they mentioned the show. And what can I say? Flattery gets you everywhere with me. Because I crave attention and validation. Speaking of that shout out though, how dare you say I have nervous energy? I'm not nervous. Tom Mason is what I would call an up-and-coming YouTuber, but how can you be up-and-coming when you get Alex Horn of Taskmaster fame on your podcast? How do you do that when you're just like pretty much starting out with podcast? How? But that's not Doctor Who related until Alex Horn, please God, appears in Doctor Who at some point. I'm getting off track. Philip Hawkins, the Big Finish intern father, is the one I'm talking about. Go and check it out. Although, in a quick side note, Mr. Tom Mason, you gotta stop spamming people. No one likes it. Like, I don't mind necessarily because I'm here to promote the community, but even I've got to admit you sent me about 5 things and you've been doing it to other creators as well. Stop it. See. Now for you TikTok lovers out there, you young'uns, said the 22-year-old, there is the TT Productions podcast, which features multiple Doctor Who TikTok creators and always has different TikTok creator guests on. If you're looking for a guest... is this joke going too far with me just desperately wanting to do more stuff with other people? Because it's a mix of me just being sort of vain and just me wanting to do lots of different cool stuff with different cool people. But also because, like, you know, why wouldn't I? If you were in my position, you would too. Don't lie. Stop fibbing! Slowly losing my sanity, and it's only episode 1. But yes, for those in the TikTok crowd, definitely go and check them out. They seem very funny and very lovely.
The first thing that David Tennant's lovely Nazi does is basically tell Ace to strip. So that is the difference between Ten and Nazi Tennant.
Welcome back to the mirror dimension, where we only talk art and mirrors. I have a lot of artists to get through because they were both many linked to me and many that I independently found that I just had to share. So let's do it! Got the window open, shouldn't shout that loud, especially as there are children playing out there. Vastra X Jenny is one that I was linked to on TikTok, who made this beautiful piece of Vastra chilling out in a tree. Oh, speaking of Madame Vastra, happy Pride Month again. In all seriousness, as it's a video, not just a picture, I love seeing the process of how it got made, like with the patterns and whatnot. Very interesting. Definitely go and check her out and make sure you tell them who sent you. I found that Twitter is a surprisingly good place to find artists because every single one, bar the one I just mentioned, that I'm going to mention, I found on Twitter, or was linked to on Twitter. For example, Ian DW Cartoons. His style reminds me of like old newspaper comic strips, so that poppy style. See, I say that, but I haven't actually ever read a newspaper in my life and probably will continue to not. Still, good art. That sounded so rude, I'm sorry, but seriously, brilliant style, I loved it. Sophie Cowdery is probably a name you are already familiar with as she worked on the Doctor Who Steelbooks, the New Who ones, for example. This one. Yeah, that joke's still funny, guys. But just because someone is well known or someone is already working with the show itself, they're still going to get a mention because they're cool. And I mean, her work speaks for itself. Look at it. Look at it. Oh, wait. Look at it. Mirrors. Millie Mackenzie is a very unique artist in that she uses polymer clay to make these adorable little figurines. Here's a collection of some of her work, and I mean, they're great. And it helps that, by all accounts, she's a very, very lovely person. So, it helps, doesn't it? It's always nice when people are nice. Isn't it? Also, Millie, I'm not saying you should make a figure of me, but I'm not saying I wouldn't pay you to do it. What's your price? I really must stop begging, shouldn't I? Also, the audio must be weird, because to me, the mic is here. So, like, what this must sound like with dual earphones in, someone tell me, because it must be odd. Back to the 2D art world with Blue Fruity. Pop the collar, because Hartnell is one with the street. She's mostly known for her TARDIS team lineups, at least that's how I came across her myself. And the costumes aside, I love how, even with the very simple art style, if you just cut off the head, you can still clearly tell who's who. That takes skill. Back with some Pride Month content, and quite frankly, it's about darn time. Joey Hazel got mentioned by the Doctor Who official Twitter account with this piece of the 13th Doctor holding the Pride flag, and I mean, it's beautiful. Gorgeous. Here's one I found all by myself. Oh, Taya, clever boy. Okay, I'm starting to understand the nervous energy quote. I am a newbie to Big Finish. I've listened to a fair whack. I've enjoyed most of it. But let me just say, Holly, you've nailed what I imagined in my head when I listened to Storm Warning. Look at it! Look at it! Space pterodactyls have never looked so beautiful. Well, except for when Stu Bagful draws them. No one can top that. That should be in a museum. Jokes aside, I love you, he moans. In a similar vein, Gingel Samuel nailed the grimy look of spare parts with this diorama. And let me just tell you, I am a sucker for these crafty little bits, the tabletop style of diorama. You know, things like book nooks, I love them. So when I saw this and the detail, I mean, look at the posters, look at the lighting, I had to mention it, it's terrific. I'd love to own it in my house and play with my little Doctor Who figurines. And finally, the well-known and well-loved Sophie Isles, because, look at it, I know she's got a strong following. Look at it. I'm gonna mention it. If you have not seen her work, fix that. Superb! Right, now how do I get out of this mirror? That's an issue. I feel like daughter of mine. Like I said in the pilot, cosplay is a huge part of this community. To the point where if I, for example, am going to meet a Doctor Who actor, I know damn well to dress for the occasion. Hashtag humble brag. There's only a few that got linked to me this time around, so let's check them out. Figured I'd start with a fairly popular one in Doctor Who Collector, and with a name like that, you'll never guess what he does. Jack! What, you gonna make a funny joke about the name, or? No. Oh, I just have to know. Does he look better than me in the 10th Doctor suit? Yes. Oh, I knew it! Donna! So, if you want to check out some Doctor Who cosplay that is screen accurate down to the thread, go and check him out. At Dr. Rose 16 is a fairly new cosplayer, starting with the 11th and 12th Doctors, and it's just her sheer enjoyment that she clearly displays with all of her TikToks and whatnot that I knew I had to promote. Finally, I had to promote this, even though I don't know if it quite fits because it's a music video, but she's in cosplay, so it counts. Laura Jane Hunt has created a music video for her song titled On My Own Terms. It's from the perspective of Ace, and I love it, and I've listened to it multiple times. Can't get it out of my head. Listen to it at your own risk.
You played your games for long enough, but that's what made me be more tough. I'm not a little girl anymore. You may have shocked me to the core. There may be scars, there may be burns, but I face my fears on my own terms.
Earworm, I think, is apt here. Not memory worm. Would you like me to get the memory worm? Oh, Strax, you potato-y boy. And finally, there are 2 shoutouts left to go, which didn't fit anywhere else, so they're here. Andy Dobson is a father of 2, one being an adorable cosplaying child, and the other being a life-size replica of a Dalek. That Dalek in question is one I'd love to crawl inside and go wee! Seriously, one day I'm gonna get a life-size Dalek, one day, just so I can get inside and just spin around. Honestly, he just seems like a very lovely person, and his content is wholesome. We all need a bit of wholesome, don't we? And finally, one I've been a fan of for a while now, Sam Davis. Or just Davis, I believe, on YouTube. I was going to promote my favourite series, which is the Broke Cannon series, but as I was collecting videos and stuff, I figured I'd mention his most recent endeavour that he recently finished, which is a 2-part finishing Doctor Who. Basically just him watching the last few episodes that he hasn't already or has watched too long ago, so he's re-watching it to get it fresh eyes. His personality, or persona perhaps I should say, is just infectious. It's fun to watch, very entertaining. Give him a watch if you haven't for some reason already. He is already quite popular in the Who sphere. Hi, it's a few days later and it is 11 o'clock at night. So I got to this point in the edit and I forgot to film an outro apparently. So here I am, dead of night, whilst my lovely girlfriend sleeps in the bedroom. Thank you so much. Once again, I cannot stress enough how amazed and blown away I am at how much people have liked the pilot and how much people have been wanting to get involved some way or tweet out and promote their friends and themselves. It has been incredible. Sorry if I'm not making any sense. Like I said, it's 11 o'clock and it's a weekday, so I've been working all day, so I'm shattered. I don't know what video Gemma has put on to go to sleep to, but she's put it on real loud. A final big ridiculous thank you. Any criticisms or what have you, or any ways you think I could improve the show, please let me know. I'm always looking to improve. And now all that's left is to roll the credits. Check the description for everyone I've mentioned. See you in episode 2.